Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today as we explore a truly meaningful topic. On this first slide, we see the title, The Outcome, Identity, Connection, and Resilience with Part III, the fruits and the theme, The Art of Being Alone. Over the course of this presentation, we'll delve into how solitude can shape our sense of self, deepen our connections, and strengthen our resilience. So, let's get started and discover the valuable insights this journey has to offer. Now let's look at the result. Solitude in this context is not about retreating from the world or avoiding connection. Instead, it's a powerful way to engage with the world more deeply, to understand ourselves better, and to foster growth. The fruit of solitude, then, is not isolation or loneliness, but a stronger, more integrated self, one that is more aware, resilient, and authentic. We've already defined what solitude is in Part I, and we've practiced the discipline of embracing it in Part II. What we're building towards now is the harvest, the tangible benefits and insights that come from this practice. The key idea here is that solitude, when approached intentionally, becomes a source of strength and clarity. It's about cultivating a richer connection with ourselves so that we can better engage with others and the world around us. This is the true essence of the overall theme. Solitude as a path to deeper engagement, not withdrawal. All right, let's dive into slide 3, titled Seeing Beyond the Social Mask. Here, we're focusing on outcome I, deep self-knowledge. What does that really mean? Well, it's about moving past the surface and understanding who we truly are beneath the roles we play and the masks we wear in social settings. This is a crucial step because, often, we present a version of ourselves that fits expectations or avoids vulnerability. But to grow and connect authentically, we need to see beyond that social facade. It's about gaining clarity on our core beliefs, values, and motivations. By doing this, we can develop a much richer, more honest relationship with ourselves. And from there, our interactions with others become more genuine. So this slide highlights how deep self-knowledge isn't just about self-awareness. It's about understanding the essence of who we are, which ultimately helps us lead more authentic and fulfilling lives. And of course, this ties back to the overall theme of seeing beyond superficial layers to truly connect and grow. Let's talk about solitude for a moment. When we're alone, there's no audience watching us, no one to impress. But here's the thing. Without an audience, the performance stops. It's in those quiet moments that we often meet the person behind the mask we wear every day. Now, I know that can be a bit terrifying. Facing ourselves without the filters or facades we usually hide behind can feel intimidating. But here's the truth. This is the only real path to authenticity. In our society, we're constantly wearing masks, right? The mask of being a good employee, a caring parent, a supportive partner, or even the cool friend. Sometimes, we get so used to these roles that we start confusing the mask with who we really are, our face. And that's where the idea of the mask falling comes in. When the mask drops, we're confronted with our true self, raw and unfiltered. That moment can be uncomfortable, even scary, but it's also where genuine connection and growth begin. So, as we move through this presentation, remember, embracing that moment when the mask falls is crucial. It's the first step toward living more authentically and deeply connected to ourselves and others. In this slide, we see that Montaigne's Solitude was actually the birthplace of his famous essays. These works are considered some of the most honest and profound explorations of the human self ever written. Montaigne famously asked, "Que sais-je?" which translates to "What do I know?" This question reflects his deep curiosity and humility about knowledge. He believed that the universe could be found within his own mind, meaning that understanding ourselves is key to understanding the world around us. In 1571, he chose to step back from public life and retreat to a tower in his castle. There, he inscribed quotes on the beams, almost like personal mantras, and spent his days reflecting, thinking, and writing. This period of retreat highlights a core theme of his work. Introspection and self-examination are essential tools for understanding human nature. His solitude wasn't isolation. It was a deliberate space for honest self-inquiry, which ultimately shaped his influential essays. So, on this slide, we see the powerful idea that you become the gold standard of your own life. What does that really mean? It means that your sense of worth should come from within, not from external validation. When we rely on likes, praise, or promotions to feel good about ourselves, we're essentially giving others the power to define our value. And that can make us feel like slaves to everyone else's opinions. But when you take the time to be alone with yourself, to understand who you truly are, your self-worth becomes intrinsic. It's rooted inside you, not dependent on outside approval. That's what I call unshakable self-worth. This concept ties into our overall theme of building a strong, authentic sense of self. When your value is intrinsic, you're more resilient, more confident, and less affected by the ups and downs of external validation. It's about becoming your own standard and living in alignment with that. Let's take a closer look at slide 7, titled The Paradox of Connection. Here, we're focusing on outcome II, which is relationships. Now, at first glance, it might seem straightforward. Building relationships is about connecting with others. But there's actually a paradox here. While connection is essential for meaningful relationships, it can also be a source of challenge or even vulnerability. What I mean is, the more we seek genuine connections, the more we expose ourselves to potential risks like misunderstandings, conflicts, or even rejection. Yet, despite these risks, strong relationships are vital for our personal and professional growth. They give us support, foster collaboration, and create a sense of belonging. So, the key takeaway here is that relationships are a delicate balance. They require us to be open and authentic, yet also mindful of boundaries. This balance is crucial in understanding the overall theme of connection, how it can both empower and challenge us. Recognizing this paradox helps us navigate relationships more thoughtfully, strengthening them rather than allowing fear or missteps to undermine our efforts. Most bad relationships, I've found, are actually built on a foundation of need. It's that feeling of "I need you to complete me," or "I need you to distract me," which is really quite revealing. What it shows is that these relationships are more about parasitism than genuine love. Instead of two whole people coming together, it's more like one person draining the other for their own sense of completeness or distraction. And that's a dangerous place to be, because it's inherently unbalanced and unsustainable. Now, here's a key idea I want you to remember. To be better together, you actually need to be better alone. That's the paradox. True connection and growth happen when each person is whole on their own, not when they're relying on someone else to fill a void. So, when we talk about relationships, the goal should be mutual support, not dependency. And that's what makes the connection healthy and real. It's about two complete individuals choosing to grow and improve together, rather than trying to fix or distract each other. That's the real secret to lasting, meaningful relationships. I believe that the greatest task in any bond between two people is to truly respect each other's individuality and solitude. When I say solitude here, I mean that personal space and inner world each person needs to remain whole and authentic. Rainer Maria Rilke, the poet I want to highlight, wrote extensively about love and solitude. He believed that merging two people completely, losing oneself in the relationship, can actually be destructive. Instead, he advocates for a kind of love that protects and honors each person's inner space. This idea connects deeply to our overall theme, which is about healthy, respectful relationships, where both partners stand guard over each other's solitude, ensuring that love remains a source of growth rather than diminishment. Healthy relationships can be beautifully compared to two tall trees growing side by side. Imagine these trees. They might touch each other's branches and even have roots that mingle beneath the surface. But their trunks, their main supports, stay separate. This highlights an important point about interdependence. While we can lean on each other and share connections, it's vital that we maintain our independence. If one tree leans too heavily on the other, or if one person relies excessively on the other for support, both can become unstable and even fall. So the key message here is balance. Healthy relationships involve mutual support without losing the strength of individual independence. And that's what keeps both people rooted and thriving, much like those two tall trees standing tall side by side. When we talk about being alone, it's important to distinguish between loneliness and being whole. A man who can be alone is not necessarily lonely. He's comfortable with himself. He's complete, not seeking validation or distractions from others. This idea ties into our overall theme of self-awareness and emotional independence. When you master solitude, you stop using people as band-aids for boredom or anxiety. Instead, you choose to be around others because you genuinely enjoy their company, not because you're trying to fill a void. So really, it's about being comfortable in your own skin and appreciating the presence of others for what it is, something extra, not a necessity. That's the key to healthier relationships and a more fulfilled life. Now, let's turn our attention to outcome III, emotional resilience, which we're calling the inner anchor. This is all about developing that internal stability that helps us stay grounded, even when external circumstances get turbulent. Emotional resilience isn't just about bouncing back from setbacks. It's about building a strong inner core that keeps us steady under pressure. What's key here is understanding that resilience comes from within, our mindset, our self-awareness, and our ability to regulate emotions. When we cultivate this inner anchor, we're better equipped to handle stress, uncertainty, and change without losing our balance. This ties into the bigger picture of the presentation, because resilience is what allows us to sustain growth and maintain focus, no matter what challenges come our way. It's that vital foundation that supports all the other skills and strategies we've discussed. So, developing our emotional resilience truly empowers us to stay resilient, adaptable, and focused on our goals. The practitioner of solitude has trained for this moment. They have developed the ability to sit with their grief, anger, or fear without being overwhelmed or destroyed by it. It's about observing these intense emotions rather than reacting impulsively to them. Think of it like becoming a lighthouse, standing steady and resilient, rather than being tossed around by the waves of emotion. When tragedy strikes, our natural instinct is often to distract ourselves, to run away, or to numb the pain. But what we're really cultivating here is the capacity to sit with the storm, acknowledging it, feeling it, but not letting it consume us. This practice of sitting with our feelings, especially during difficult times, is a powerful way to build resilience and inner strength. It ties back to the overall theme of this presentation, learning to navigate life's challenges with awareness and calm. So, what Viktor Frankl realized in the midst of unimaginable suffering was that there is one thing that no one can take away from us: our ability to choose our attitude, regardless of the circumstances. It's this inner freedom, the last of the human freedoms, that remains ours, no matter what happens externally. He discovered a profound sense of solitude within his own mind, an inner sanctuary that no guard, no prison could breach. Even in the horrors of Nazi concentration camps, where he lost everything, his family, his freedom, his dignity, this inner space remained intact. This story highlights a powerful concept. No matter how dire the situation, we still hold the power to choose how we respond. And that choice can be a source of resilience and hope, connecting directly to the larger theme of human resilience and the importance of mindset in overcoming adversity. Let's take a moment to reflect on Viktor Frankl's powerful insight. He tells us that between a stimulus and our response, there is a space. And in that space, we hold our greatest power, the ability to choose how we respond. This choice is crucial because it directly impacts our growth and our freedom. When we recognize this space, we realize that we are not simply at the mercy of external events. We have the capacity to decide our reactions. Now, an interesting point Frankl makes is that solitude, being alone with ourselves, actually enlarges this space. It gives us the opportunity to pause, reflect, and choose more consciously. This idea ties into the concept of the sacred space, an inner sanctuary where we find clarity and strength. When we create this space within ourselves, we nurture our ability to respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. So, as we continue with this presentation, remember that cultivating this sacred space isn't just about solitude, but about intentionally fostering that moment of choice. because in that moment lies our true power, our growth, and our freedom. Living by design, not default, is really about taking control of our lives and making intentional choices. On this slide, we're focusing on outcome IV, intentionality. It's about understanding that the way we live should be deliberate. Every decision, every action, should align with the life we want to create. Rather than drifting through days on autopilot, we aim to design our lives intentionally. This means being mindful about our goals, values, and the habits that support them. Most importantly, it's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our future through our choices today. So, living intentionally isn't just a one-time decision. It's a continuous process of aligning our actions with our desired outcomes. This approach ties back to the overall theme of living purposefully and making conscious decisions to craft a meaningful life. Slide 17 of 23. Solitude quiets the external instructions so you can read your own internal compass. It allows you to distinguish between what you should want and what you actually want. In our busy world, we're often influenced by the noise around us, by other people's expectations and signals. And it's easy to fall into the trap of navigating with other people's maps, chasing careers, possessions, or lifestyles simply because everyone else is doing it. That's where the importance of the compass comes in. When you take time for solitude, you give yourself the space to tune into your true inner guidance. You start to see what genuinely matters to you, rather than what you've been told should matter. This process helps you align your actions with your authentic desires and values. And in the context of this whole presentation, it's about cultivating self-awareness and intentionality in our lives. So remember, solitude isn't just about being alone. It's about connecting with your inner direction amidst the noise. When you become comfortable being alone, something shifts inside you. You stop saying, yes, just to avoid missing out or to please others, even when you really don't want to. You realize that it's okay to decline invitations or requests that don't align with your values or make you uncomfortable. You also stop agreeing with opinions simply to be liked or accepted. Instead, your yes becomes more meaningful because it genuinely reflects what you want. And crucially, your no becomes more powerful because you no longer see it as a threat to your relationships or reputation. The ultimate reward of embracing solitude is developing the confidence to say no without fear. When you're at peace with yourself, you understand that saying no is a form of self-respect and authenticity. For example, the power of no can be transformative. It allows you to set boundaries, protect your energy, and stay true to your path. This is what we're aiming for in this journey, learning that true freedom comes from the ability to say no when it's right for you. You cannot align with a truth you haven't taken the time to discover. Solitude provides the time. This is really the core of what we're exploring, taking that quiet moment to reflect and uncover what truly matters to us. Because, at the end of the day, authenticity is about aligning your internal truth with your external actions. Think of it as being genuine and consistent in who you are and what you stand for. When you're honest with yourself and let that honesty guide your actions, you create a sense of integrity and clarity. And that, in turn, produces the fruits of a more fulfilled and authentic life. Remember, this process starts with solitude, those moments where you step back from the noise and really listen to yourself. When you do that, aligning your actions with your truth becomes natural, and that's what authentic living is all about. Now, let's explore what it truly means to live by your own compass. This is about intentionality, being deliberate in your choices and actions. It's finding that freedom between stimulus and response, recognizing that even when external events happen, you have the power to choose how to respond. Resilience is another key piece. It's about connecting from a sense of wholeness rather than feeling lacking or incomplete. When we approach challenges from a place of inner strength, we're better able to bounce back and grow. Relationships play a vital role here too. Removing the masks we often wear allows us to meet others more authentically. to find the real face behind the facade and build genuine connections. And finally, self-knowledge ties it all together. Understanding ourselves better gives us clarity and direction, enabling us to live more intentionally, resiliently, and authentically. So, in summary, this part of the presentation reminds us that living intentionally, cultivating resilience, fostering authentic relationships, and deepening self-knowledge are all essential for truly meaningful living. They're interconnected, guiding us to be more conscious and fulfilled every day. So ask yourself, does my current life reflect these values I've just considered? If the answer is no, don't worry. Use the strength you find in solitude to make a change. Find a place you love, somewhere peaceful where you can really think. Bring only a notebook with you. This is your space for reflection. Write down 3 values that are non-negotiable for your life, things that truly matter to you and define who you are. This exercise is about aligning your daily actions with your core principles. Remember, the goal here is integration, bringing everything together so your life authentically reflects these values. This is the final challenge in our journey, making sure you're living intentionally and true to yourself. Now let's look at this intriguing quote from Aristotle. "Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god." What does he really mean here? Well, Aristotle is highlighting 2 extremes when it comes to enjoying solitude. On one side, he suggests that if someone finds pure delight in being alone, they might be like a wild beast, more at home in the wild than in society. On the other side, he points out that such a person could also be like a god, completely self-sufficient, having achieved a level of inner harmony and independence that others might never reach. This quote ties directly into our broader theme of understanding human nature and the importance of balance. It prompts us to reflect. Is solitude something to be feared or celebrated? Aristotle seems to imply that true mastery lies somewhere in between, finding comfort in solitude without losing touch with the social world or becoming isolated. It's a reminder that our relationship with solitude can shape who we are, and that finding that sweet spot is part of the journey towards self-awareness and growth. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time and attention throughout this presentation. Make sure to hit the like button if you found this content helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to SlideWisdom for more insightful and engaging content like this. Your support helps us continue to create valuable resources to boost your knowledge and skills. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.